There he is.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Ian. How are you?
Fine. For some reason, I don't know why it didn't connect up
Yeah.
straight away, but
It usually you have the sort of wait period and then it connects in, but for some reason it didn't happen at all. I don't know what's happening there. But
well,
anyway,
we finally made it.
we did indeed. Thanks for joining us today. How are
Oh,
you?
thanks for having me. Yeah, good, good. Yeah, I was just rushing back. I was in West London and doing some filming today, so I had to rush back. And for some reason, there was like all these temporary traffic lights all across London for some reason today. So
Okay.
we're a 30-40 minute journey would normally, well, it'd been normally a 30-40 minute journey, but like an hour and a bit. So
Really?
I literally just got in.
So is it still quite quiet then? It must be
No,
quiet.
there's a lot of traffic on the road. A lot of
Really?
traffic on the road now. Yeah, people are actually going back to work now, or there just seemed to be a lot of traffic on the road today, more than
Mm.
even more than normal. I had to double check it was a Thursday and not a Friday,
Really?
as such. But I suppose it's a sense of normality coming back.
Yeah, for sure. So I haven't ventured out of my area throughout this whole
All
time.
right. Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Uh,
yeah, I haven't. So I'm
could
curious.
be worse. Could be worse. You could be in Leicester.
That's very, very, very true, actually. But I am. I think I have. I mean, I believe that we've seen the numbers and seen obviously the impact, and I've been very reluctant about going forth,
Right.
back to normal life. So I'm taking my time, but I might venture out
Okay.
this weekend. I might venture out.
Okay. Okay. Well, if the sun's out, then yeah, definitely worth
Yeah, hopefully the
venturing out.
weather's better. It's grey
Yeah.
outside at the moment.
It's raining. It's
Oh,
raining here in London. It's raining in North London. It's raining. It's grim.
yeah.
It's definitely rum weather, as in sit down at home and drink rum.
It is, it is, it is, it is. And so, thank you again for joining us today. Just to remind everyone of the usual format, if you have any questions at all for Ian at the end, please put them in the question mark box so that we can put them on the screen. And yeah, we're just going to take our time over the next 45 minutes or so to get to know Ian. And so, how have you been then over this just crazy 4 months?
Yeah, it's been up and down. I think the downs were more at the start. We didn't really know what to expect. It was a strange period for everybody, being told that you can't go anywhere, you're locked down. You almost feel that some of your civil liberties have been taken away from you, in that respect. So, but then where it started going up is when you realize the positives of what we're going through, and looking at that light at the end of the tunnel. With me, yes, a lot of people look on the outside and say, well, you're always traveling around the world, so it means you can't travel. But because of the fact that we are connected through the internet, through social media and things like that, it meant I could still travel virtually as
Yeah,
opposed to physically.
yeah.
So it didn't really stop me from what I need to do, which was
Mhm.
learn,
Yeah.
enlighten, at the same time work with various different brands, create different content for
Mhm.
various different companies I work with. So
Mm.
it just meant I wasn't physically there, but at least I was there virtually with people
So,
around the world. So yeah, you just learn to adapt.
yeah.
You adapt, and that's where the pluses came, because I got to go to and work with people that I may have never had a chance to work with, because I was always on the move and always on the
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the whole pandemic was a chance to slow down and
Yeah.
reassess and assess
Mhm.
where we are and where we're going.
Sure. And so, just to explain, or if you could explain for us, what you technically do. What's your job?
Well, my job as the world's only ambassador for the category of rum basically means I get to travel around the world. I work with some amazing people within the industry, whether it's bartenders, whether it's rum ambassadors, whether it's rum brands, and I consult. I consult for them, or I'll do talks and presentations. I get to visit different types of distilleries around the world, and then write the stories, or understand what their rums are, and then convey that message to the general consumer or to the trade. So I'm more of I suppose, a go-to vocal point for the rum industry,
Yeah.
as it converts from the trade to the consumer, and vice versa, consumer back to the trade.
Sure. Sure. Wow. So, in a nutshell, you
Yeah.
travel, you drink rum, and
Mhm.
you educate on rum.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what you've described to me sounds like heaven.
For some reason, I've lost volume here. For some reason, I don't know
I
why.
can hear you.
Someone tried to phone and the volume went. Sorry, let me just
Okay.
get this volume back up again.
No, I just said to you, basically, it sounds like you've got a dream job in terms of balance. So you educate, you travel,
Mm-hmm.
you drink.
Yeah.
I assume you drink the rum too.
Yeah, well, I taste the rum.
Taste it. And so, I guess, question for you, you said you're the world's only global
Yes.
rum ambassador. So how did you kind of, how did you create this role for yourself?
Well, how it came about was back in, so when I left school, I worked in a bar for a couple of months. Well, I was intending to work for a couple of months before I went to further education, and really loved the bar industry, making drinks, having fun. So I decided to stay in the industry. And I was very lucky. A few years later, I was approached by a Jamaican rum company to become a part-time ambassador for their company. And basically what that meant was just to talk about their rum to other bartenders, because they thought it was a really good idea for a bartender to talk to other bartenders. And me being a Jamaican made it even more appropriate for their particular company.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple of years, I was doing some stuff for them here in the UK. Then I was invited over to Jamaica to do some stuff over in Jamaica. While in Jamaica, I was seen by the importers of well, the actual rum was Ray and Nephew and Appleton. I was seen by the importers of Australia and New Zealand. And they felt, you know what, we want to bring you out to our country to talk about Appleton rum to our bartenders.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, so you're going to fly me to Australia and New Zealand and pay me to talk about Appleton rum? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what a great job. So while I was there, I realized I really loved the whole traveling, learning new things, meeting new people. But I also realized I knew nothing about rum. I knew about Jamaican rums, but not about other rums. So I said I needed to find a person to be a teacher, a mentor when it came to rums, and there wasn't one. So I said, well, why can't it be me? There's no reason why I can't be that rum mentor for other people. And that's when I decided, and that's when I created, I thought about my own job and my own title, and I created my own position. Created a need for the companies before they knew they needed it.
Yeah, sure.
And that was back in 2003, and 17 years later, still doing it.
And so tell me this. So, you know, you mentioned that you were looking for maybe a mentor, someone that could help you on your journey. And because you didn't see that, you decided to be that yourself.
Yes.
But was there a role model? Who were you looking to? Because, you know, I do think there's power and value in, if you can't see me, you can't beat me, but I don't think it's impossible. So tell me, like, what your mindset was, or who you were looking to that helped you on that journey.
There's a combination of lots of different people, and lots of different people that you take parts of and you mold yourself. So you say, oh, I really like that and that person, I'm going to use that. Or I've learned this from that person, I'm going to use that. So the rum ambassador is a combination of lots of different influences and mentors that I've had, and not specifically to the catering industry, from other industries. I think one of my biggest mentors is one of my best friends and my antagonist when it comes to Scrabble. There's a guy named Don Smith. And Don grew up in either Wolverhampton or Telford. I think it's Wolverhampton. Grew up in Wolverhampton. And he was one of the first people I ever knew that had a web page. He was the first person I knew that had an email account. He taught me a lot of things about the tech world, but more importantly, he taught me a lot of things that you would expect from a father figure. My father wasn't around, so he was like a father figure for me, even though he was only about 8 years older than me. A lot of things that I focused on in life, I learned from ideals that I learned from him. He is today, even today, he's a what I call a mind styler. He styles your mind, a lifestyle coach, a professional speaker. And as a Jamaican, I was born in Jamaica, but as a Jamaican that grew up in Wolverhampton in the 60s, he learned how to fight for what he had to believe in, because of the troubles and the tribes and tribulations that happened. That, as you know, in parts of those countries there as a black person. So a lot of that internal confidence and power that he had, I sucked some of that from him, and I got a lot of my confidence and belief from what he taught me, inadvertently, sometimes on purpose. And I adapted a lot of that to what I do today, to what I did then and what I do today, and that's what I try and pass on to people I speak to, and I try to encourage them to be the best they can be. And don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do or be that person. Because I see myself as a testament to that. There were lots of people that thought I was crazy. A lot of people said, "No, that's silly, doing that or creating that. Who gave you the title?" And it hasn't stopped me. It never stopped me. So so in answer to the question, there's a lot of combination of lots of people that I saw around me, and I took bits of them, the meta model of each of those, and said, yeah, I'm going to incorporate that into my lifestyle and make that work for me.
Super. I love that. I mean, I think I mentioned to you a while ago, I'm also a coach.
Yes.
Big into psychology, and really, 100% agree with everything you've said around what you focus on and what you tell yourself is possible is definitely the case.
Correct. Yeah.
So over this period, not only over this period, but generally, what do you do to keep your mind in the right zone, place, focus? What is it that you do?
There's lots of little things. I mean, to keep my mind focused on it, I always see that light at the end of the tunnel. And every journey, every step is a journey. So keep myself focused. I don't believe in failure, and that helps me focus, because even when some people might look on the outside and say, "Oh, that was a failure," that's a learning process for me. That's not a failure. I've learned something from what you see as a failure. So that keeps me focused. It keeps me focused. I'm always constantly learning. I'm always constantly evolving. That's what I thrive. I thrive when I learn something new, discover something new. I'm like, wow, I'm excited. It's almost like I feel like I'm 8 years old again. I've learned something new, and a new task, some new information, something that would empower me. Then I can then empower other people, because I want to pass that information on as well. So that's one of the things that keeps me focused. The fact that I'm constantly learning, and there are people around me. I try to surround myself with people around me that I constantly want to teach and want to pass on that information. So that's what keeps me going.
Oh, you sound like a real optimist, which is good.
Very, very optimistic.
Yeah. And so why rum then? Why rum specifically? Obviously, there's tons of spirits out there, but rum. I know you mentioned about Jamaica, and I understand the attachment. I have it too, but why rum?
Well, rum's in my blood, as you said. It's Jamaican. I mean, you can't go into a Jamaican house without finding rum inside there. So I always had rum inside my blood. I used to like to say that I fell into a vat of rum, like that old cartoon character Obelix and the Asterix. But my grandmother said to me that you had your first sip of rum when you was about four days old. A little bit on the lips to help me to sleep. That's it, or put me to sleep, depending on who's telling the story, my gran or my mom.
That's the thing. Yeah.
But yeah, so rum has I've always gravitated to rum. But the more I got into the rum industry, I realized that the rum industry needs that help. It needs that little push. It needs that platform. It's because other spirits, especially things like whiskeys of the world and brandies of the world, most of those are made, or they prosper in the westernized world, where rums are made in what we call the developing world. So they have never, or they don't have the platform that they rightly deserve. I mean, some of these rums are better than some of these single malt whiskeys out there, some of these cognacs out there, but they have the money and they have the marketing, their promotion to promote them and elevate them, where these rums are being undersold or underappreciated. So if I could help someone in Jamaica, in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Guyana, in St. Lucia, in Grenada, help them by promoting the rum category from the Caribbean, and it means that's food going on their table, then I'm doing what I believe I was put here to do to help that particular category. I'm not saying you don't drink the Scotsman's whiskey or the Frenchman's rum, but the Frenchman's brandy or cognac, but we should be looking to invest and looking to spend money on our own rums of the world, and rums from the so-called developing nations as well, because they need the funds as well. They need that support. They need those dollars going back to those particular countries as well. So it's the important part of the economy of most of these countries. So that's one of the reasons why I love rum as much as I do.
Sure. And so, and in doing that, I mean, obviously there's I say the day job. It sounds like a day-night job, kind of 24-hour roll into one job. Tell me about Rumfest then, because that's covered when I first moved down.
So Rumfest was an idea I thought about around 2005. I saw a few rum events in the Caribbean and felt that it would be really nice if we had an international rum festival where we had rums from all over the world. We had people from all over the world learning and sampling and tasting rums under one roof. But it was a place where you could learn about the category. It wasn't just about let's have a drink and get drunk. It was about learning about how the product's made, the history of it, where it was in the past, where it is today, where it's going in the future, and speak to the guys that make the product and the people that work in the industry. And I've always dreamed of creating an event like that, especially when I saw whiskey events and beer events and wine events like that. So I took all my savings and created the world's first international wine festival back in 2005. Wow.
Really?
Yeah, lost a lot of
really?
Yeah, lost a lot of money in the first year, but what I did, it was an investment because I invested and created a brand. So that was 2007, but there was no international rum festival back then. So every international rum festival that you see around the world has been influenced by my event in London back in 2007. Unfortunately, I've been invited to a lot of these events to either host or just to be the guest of honor there, or I'm hired to do talks and presentations and lectures. So it's a nice honor to be, I suppose, to be seen as the father of Rumfest, as such as rum festivals. But that was what I wanted to contribute back then. I wanted to create an event that would be a part of my legacy and part of rum's legacy. And coincidentally, the category of rums, as the category of premium rums, have been growing globally ever since that event. So
no, that's not coincidental, Ian. That's your work. It's a correlation. It's a correlation.
I'll just say it's coincidence.
No. It's not a coincidence. It's a correlation. Work output. So what's going to happen this year? It's due to be October, is it?
Yeah, it's due to be October. We are still doing a rum festival of some sort, but instead of doing the under one roof and having 2,000 people over a couple of days to taste and sampling rums, what we're going to do is satellite events in bars and restaurants around London. So because of course these bars and restaurants need a lot of help, people coming into them, building up confidence for consumers to actually go back to bars. What we're going to do is small tasting events in several bars around London. So as a consumer, you buy a ticket and you could go to 3 bars that are in the same area and have like 3 different rum experiences. So the first bar, it may be just a tasting with the master blender or brand ambassador. You get to taste a series of rums. The second bar you go to like an hour later, maybe rum and chocolate pairings. You're trying a rum and you're being paired. It's been paired with chocolates from a chocolatier. So we have a chocolate expert talking about what they do. And then the third bar might be cocktail masterclasses, where you learn how to make cocktails using rum from another brand. And we've even got things like food pairing. So it might be a sit-down dinner, spirited dinner, where you get rum cocktails paired with your food. So we just want to create small little tiny experiences.
Makes sense.
And have people rotate around from one bar to another bar. So you're not staying in the same place for a period of time. It'll be limited amount of people inside there. So it'll be quite small, like maximum like 20 people for each session. But at least you then have the confidence going into this bar, confidence maybe with people around you that you know may have booked all the tickets together, or if you're just you and a partner, then at least you have your own little space, your own little bubble, as I like to say, and instilling confidence. And so that's what we're looking to do with Rumfest this year. But we're also going to have a virtual element as well to coincide. So we'll have seminars and talks online. A couple that I'm going to be including you in, involving you in as well. A couple of ideas as well. So we've got a few things planned online that we're looking to do. And fortunately, I've been approached by a big rum company that said we'd love to get involved in sponsoring an event, especially if you're doing an event that's based around BME and ME. And that's Bacardi, funny enough. So
really,
so they've said if you're doing something like that, Ian, we want to get involved in sponsoring. So I'm working on that at the moment.
Super, that sounds amazing. And when will details be released so that we can get involved?
We are looking to release details at the end of this month, end of July. Because there's a big rum day on the end of July called Black Tots Day, and that's the day when the Royal Navy got their last rations of rum in 1970, July the 31st. So it's a rum day, so I thought it would be a really good time to actually make that announcement, of what's happening for Rumfest this year, what events are happening, what people can buy into, what tickets, what seminars will be happening online, and a little bit about this project we're looking to do during Rumfest, and also coincidentally it's Black History Month as well.
Yeah, of course. Oh, that sounds amazing. And final question, this is for me personally, is it all over London? Is it, or is it
we're gonna go as far as we can. I put my hands up. I'm not that great in South London. Still trying to find some bars, but we're trying to incorporate we're trying to incorporate as many bars and restaurants as part of the festival. So for 1 week we want to get London rumming. As such, between the 15th and the 21st of October. So definitely get London rumming.
Brilliant. Keep us posted, and once you have the details, definitely share it with us.
100%. 100% keep it posted.
And so, on the topic of rum, you have a rum, right?
Yeah, just launched rum at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we didn't know what was going to happen with the whole pandemic. So, if anyone said launching a rum, if we knew what we knew now, we may not have launched it. But fortunately, there's been some good little things that have happened for our brand over the last few months.
And so, in terms of the product itself, tell us the sort of backstory and how that materializes in it looks beautiful.
There is Equiano.
Is that a standard 75 centiliter bottle?
This is a standard 70. We've got the 75s in America because we just launched in America as well. But yeah, standard 70, but it's really solid and heavy.
It looks huge. That's why
it is. Yeah. It's compared to my head, like that's normal size. It's a camera.
Yeah.
So yes, this is being an independent ambassador for the category of rum. My job is to promote all rums as such. So I'd never really thought about doing my own brand. But when I was approached by my business partners to actually help create a brand, I said, well, the only way I'd get involved in a brand if I can do it pretty much my way. We want to do it where it's a unique blend of rums. It has to have an authentic story because it's going to be a new brand. We don't own a distillery. We don't have that history and heritage of some of the brands like Appleton or Mount Gay, and such. So it has to have an authentic story. But also, I want to be able to work with people that I respect within the industry as well. And they said, that sounds good to us. You know your rums. So that's how Equiano was born. Equiano was born because I felt that the best rums in the world are coming from the Caribbean. And I know I work around the world, and a lot of people would argue and say, well, our rums are good from Asia, our rums are good from there, but the best rums in the world are from the Caribbean. And being a Jamaican, biased, I would like to say Jamaica rum is the best rum in the world.
I have to agree, but
yeah. Unfortunately, there's a couple of other islands in the Caribbean that are making some amazing rums as well. One particular island that us Jamaicans always have a little banter with, especially when it comes to cricket, is Barbados. And there's a couple of distilleries there that are making some of the best rums in the world.
Really?
The Mount Gay distillery as a rum is absolutely amazing. But Foursquare is at the moment making probably the best quality rum in the world at the moment, consistently.
Really?
There are some brands from other rum companies, and you'll say, oh, that's absolutely amazing, world class. And there's some other products that are like, well, not as good. But consistently, Foursquare is making some of the best rums in the world. And it's not only me saying that, that's all the competitions that they win. They've won all the big competitions like the International Spirit Challenge, the International Wine and Spirit Challenge. They've won Best Rum Maker 4 years in a row.
Wow.
They've won 3 gold medals, continuing gold medals. Richard Seal from Foursquare has won Rum Maker of the Year.
Really?
And also impressively in the International Wine and Spirit Challenge, which is one of the top award ceremonies for drinks companies out in the world. Foursquare rum, actually, I think it was 2007 vintage, won Best Spirit. So it beat brandy, it beat single malt whiskies, it beat gins and vodkas, it beat all other spirits. as such. So it means they're doing very well. So I'm proud. I don't like to tell Richard, the guy that makes rum now, because it makes his head get too big.
Yeah.
But very proud of what they do.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I said. If I make a rum, I'd have to incorporate at least the distillery into this process. But again, the story part was an important part of the rum as well. And being coming back from my background and what I've learned, and where I feel that I could add value to the category of rum. I felt if we got a rum, we could reinvigorate the African continent and get people looking at Africa for rum, and incorporate that with the Caribbean. Then we could probably we could create a really good rum. So it was like, we have to have an African and the Caribbean rum, and it was like light bulb moment. African Caribbean rum, amazing. We've got Jamaica rum, Barbados rums, Martinique rums, but we don't have an African Caribbean rum. So I looked around on the continent and said, where in Africa is making the best rums at the moment? And of all the rums I've tried in the African continent, the best rums at the moment is coming out of Mauritius, just on in the east coast of Africa. It's a part of East Africa. There are some great sugarcane spirits coming out of South Africa. There are some sugarcane spirits, some coming out of Ghana as well. But again, they haven't got to that level where we sip it and save it and say, wow, that's amazing. Potentially they could be there. So Mauritius, I've been to a few first, African and Caribbean rum. And I found a distillery that was down there, was making really good molasses-based rums, aged in ex-cognac barrels as well. So the cognac comes out the barrels, and then they put the rum inside there, so it gets a really beautiful, rich taste.
Nice.
So what we do is we get that rum, it's aged for a minimum of 10 years. That gets sent from Mauritius to Barbados. That gets blended in Barbados and bottled in Barbados, because that's another thing I said with my partners. I'm like, I know it's cheaper to bottle in Europe. I know it'd be much more cost effective to bottle in the UK, but it has to be bottled in Barbados because the money has to be there.
Yeah, sure.
That's where we have to be able to give back. So we bottle in Barbados and send the bottles here to the UK and to the US. Now, coincidentally, and this is again how the light bulb moments work, when we came up with the concept of the name Equiano, Alaudo Equiano was, for me, one of the most understated historians in the UK, well, in literature. Alaudo Equiano was enslaved when he was 11. 11, kidnapped, taken from his home, taken to a few villages, and then sold to European slavers on the west coast of Africa. Sent to Barbados, and then while in Barbados, he was there for a few weeks, and then sent to Virginia and sold in Virginia, United States, and then brought to the UK. And that's the journey our rum makes. Our rum makes that same journey from Africa to Barbados to the UK, or from Africa to Barbados to the USA. So it makes that same journey as Alaudo Equiano did in the 1700s. Now, what's more remarkable about Alaudo Equiano was not only did he learn English at a rapid rate when he was in England, not only did he learn about how to navigate a boat and became one of the great seamen of his particular time, even at a very young age, he bought his own freedom. Bought his own freedom by selling spices and rum. Cost him £40. Yeah, £40, which is 2 years' wages. Bought his own freedom. The guy that owned him at that particular time basically said when he bought him, listen, I'm a Quaker and we don't believe in the whole peddling fresh thing. And if you want to buy your own freedom, you can do that. Not thinking he could. And he did. An entrepreneur. He sold, he bartered, he traded, and bought his own freedom. So he became a free man, came back to England, worked a little bit there. But while he then went back onto the ships, went back to the Caribbean and saw the brutality of enslavement. And that's when he became a campaigner. That's when he became an abolitionist. That's when he realized this is wrong. So when he came back to England, he told the story, he campaigned, he wrote a book. His book about his autobiography became an 8-time bestseller. 8-time bestseller in the UK, 1-time bestseller in America. at that particular time. We're talking about the late
Yes, of course.
1700s now. And he sold it himself,
Wow.
went around and did book tours and things like that. This guy was driven. He was driven. And again, as a British black person, we don't talk about your story.
Yes.
Why is this not in the curriculum inside schools? Why is it not in the curriculum in schools? Why is there not statues of him? When we're talking at a time when we're tearing down statues, we should be looking at what statues to erect. Allow the Equiano, there needs to be a statue of him because of what he did. And because of what he did with there was another 11 Africans that called themselves the 12 Africans in London that campaigned. They were the ones that influenced people like Wilberforce to inspire them for the abolition of slavery. And 10 years after Olaudah Equiano died, the abolition of slavery, the unofficial abolition of slavery came to fruition in 1807. So he was very instrumental with that, with his book, with his words, and how he campaigned. I just felt that this had to be a story that had to be told. So this is why we call the Equiano after Olaudah Equiano, and also to give back 5% of our profits is going back to groundbreaking charities. We're creating a foundation, the Equiano Foundation, will be giving back to charities in Africa, charities in the Caribbean, and charities back here in the UK. And that's of profits. So at the moment, what we're doing for the immediate thing is in America, we've just launched $2 of every bottle is going straight to the foundation straight away. And then £2 from every bottle we sell online here from our own webpage. Again, it's going to the charity. So we want to start straight away before we start making profits on the product, because we've only been going for 6 months.
Of course.
As such. But so that's the reason why we call it Equiano. That's the reason why we have the rums from those locations. And that's the reason why I finally, after all these years, decided to get involved and create a brand. It's part of the legacy,
amazing. I mean, I've seen loads in the comments just in terms of the power of that story. Just amazing. What I always think as well is, we talked about positive mindset and how you think and what you focus on. I can't even imagine during that time.
Yeah, correct. Imagine to actually tell the story. And I suppose, and when you look at it in context of, because we always make a lot of comparisons between the United Kingdom and America, especially when we talk about the times of enslavement. America had it on their doorstep. They had the plantations and they had all the Africans that were enslaved right on their doorstep. So they had that. Where in England, all of that was done abroad. That was done in Jamaica. That was done in Barbados. That was done in Guyana. So a lot of people in England didn't see it directly. They heard about it. They profited from it, but they never saw it into their face until people like Olaudah Equiano wrote the book and then said, this is what it was. Explaining to people in graphic details what it was like lying down on top of each other like sardines, and people, if I'm allowed to say, defecating on top of you. Women getting abused by the guys on the ships, or people getting thrown off to sea. People had never heard of that because the stories they heard was all the nice stuff.
Of course.
Invest your money in that lot war. Don't buy government bonds. Invest in enslavement and things like that. So they never really heard about of the brutality of slavery until you had people like Olaudah Equiano that brought it to life. And that's one of the reasons why he got received so well.
It's in my Amazon. It's in my basket. I haven't bought it yet, but do you remember when we spoke about it last?
Yes.
My brother's read the book, and I thought he had. And I think one thing that's really apparent for many of us really is that the stories of history are usually told by the people oppressing and not those being oppressed. Which is why the skew in the view on what you see, and that's why that book is super amazing.
In his own words,
absolutely.
You can actually get the book. I mean, it's interesting seeing other scholars' philosophies on Olaudah Equiano's books of their interpretation of it. It's interesting reading their books, but you can actually read his book free online as well. You can download it. I think it's the Gutenberg pages. Because it's so old, it becomes public ownership. So you can read it, but it's definitely worth reading and seeing things in his own words, and then reading some of the other books out there and seeing other people's interpretations. I was even reading, watching an American professor, his thesis on the book about who he was and why he didn't. And it's so funny because when you see this professor, he looked like someone from the 70s Woodstock, typical Woodstock type person, long beard, long hair, old wizard looking guy. But what he was saying, how he broke down the story and some of the things that Equiano would have done or may have done or may have been in his thought process was actually amazing. Even simple things like because he was so good on the ships sailing around the world, he was treated better than anyone else on the ship. He was treated better than some white people on the ships because he was so good at what he did. But coming back to land, he was treated like a lower class citizen. So that's one of the reasons why he wanted to be on the ships, because he got treated with better respect, more respect. And that's why he sailed around all over the place. He even sailed to the Arctic at one stage. And there was a 12-year-old boy on the ship, a young guy. His name was Nelson. Horatio Nelson was on the same ship as Lauder Equiano sailing to the Arctic.
Really?
And we know what Nelson went on to do. So very, very interesting to read and scrape away the layers of this great man who lived in London, found his house as well where he lived.
Did
Tottenham Court Road. Yeah, just off Tottenham Court Road, near Tottenham Court Road.
Okay.
And there is a blue plaque there. They put one of the blue plaques there in 2003 saying this is where Lauder Equiano lived, on Riding House Street. That's where the official address, Riding House Street, just off Tottenham Court Road in London.
Cool. Oh wow, powerful. So did you take a picture with the sign or?
Oh yeah, I took a picture as soon as I found it. That was about a year and a half ago. I took a picture. Yeah, we didn't have the bottles then, and we just had the ideas and the content. I had some samples, but as soon as the bottles came, it was like, we take a photo as such. But yeah, it was amazing seeing that. Found where his daughters was buried as well in Stoke Newington, because he got married to an English lady as well at that particular time. So yeah, powerful person, and as I said, that was one of the reasons why we had to retell that story through the rum.
Love it, absolutely love it. And so, before we go to quick fire round and any questions, by the way, just reminding you guys, any questions, please pop them in the question box. What are you looking forward to then? So we've talked about Rumfest, or the new version of Rumfest. Webinar. What else is it that you've got coming up that you're looking forward to? I'm
looking forward to seeing how the world's going to change after PC post Corona as such. I think there's been a lot of horrible things that have come out of this, but there's been a lot of good as well. A lot of people have stopped to check to see where they really are. I think also with the pandemic, under the microscope of the pandemic, I think for me personally, the most important thing that's come out of the pandemic is the fact that certain voices have been amplified.
Yes.
So when we talk about things like Black Lives Matter, I see a lot of negative comments online saying, "Oh, you're only saying this because of the George Floyd incident and just because of this and that." They don't realize that this has been going on for decades.
This is life.
Years.
Yes.
Even the Black Lives Matter was the actual message. Black Lives Matter was 5-6 years ago. As such, it's not just something that's happening now. But what's happened now at the same time is the fact that the world has slowed down.
Yes.
So if you're moving at a fast pace, you're going to miss a lot of things.
Yeah.
If you slow the world down, like the pandemic has done, it's made a lot of people stop and check and said, "Wow, I didn't realize that. I never really realized that. I didn't realize I had any privilege," because you've stopped and checked to see how it is. So the pandemic has actually worked for that cause. Yeah. Because the world has slowed down. So for me, it's how that's going to affect the future. Yeah. Is it going to be as positive as I'm hoping, as I'm expecting? Yeah. As such, where people are actually realize, you know what, the way we were there was wrong, because I see it now. What I need to do is actually become a better person and make sure we live in a better world. Yeah. So that for me is what I'm looking forward. Yeah. As I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist. I'm looking forward to seeing that, see how the world is going to change for the better because of what we've learned over the last 6 months. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And so, 100% agree with you in terms of it's going to be interesting to see how the world changes, not only from a perspective of, daily we're seeing announcements of closures, shifting, pivoting, but I can't remember where I heard it. Someone I spoke to today, I was watching something today, and they said it's a movement, it's not a moment. And obviously the month of June, I think for all people of colour who are on Instagram,
you know, inboxes and contact went just absolutely crazy.
It went crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and for us, even here at Bayman Hospitality, I think we are, you know, we've been in the background making plans on how we're going to really go forward and amplify what we're doing, because this is something.
And you've been doing that for a little while now as well.
No, I have, absolutely. But
it's not just now.
We're in this for the long haul. We're not here to pop up for a month and say, you know, what can we do differently? We really want to shift the dialogue and shift the understanding that our sector in particular has on equality and what diversity looks like. Because I think our sector, we pride ourselves on being diverse. And from a numbers perspective, I think 18% of workers within the sector are from a Black, Asian or other ethnic minority background. However, that 18% only show up in certain places, you know, in business by exception. So, like you, really looking forward to see change, but being part of that change as well. So interesting times ahead. Final question for you, Ian. It's just about how much do you drink? So I assume you're at home, and it looks like a bar to me behind you.
I've got my little bar, my little office at the end of my garden. This is where I create new drinks, create cocktails, do some rum sampling, as such. So I don't drink as much as what a lot of people might think. In fact, because of the last lockdown, I've probably drunk more at home in the last 6 months than I had in the previous 6 years.
Me too.
I liked, for me, like with rum, people say, what's the best thing to mix with rum? The best thing to mix with rum is friends. I like being in a bar or a social aspect and really enjoying the rum and talking rubbish as such. Sitting at home drinking rum is just doesn't have the same effect. I might have a wine or a beer or watching TV and things like that. But so I mean, except for now, I'll drink a rum now because I'm drinking with you. It's the first drink I've had with you.
Well, I haven't got a drink here. I was saying before we came on, I said I was gonna get some rum, but I've got Ray at home, Ray nephew.
Uncle Ray.
Of course, I always have Uncle Ray at home, to be honest. And randomly, I made a fruit cake yesterday because I had, of course, I had some fruit left over from Christmas.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, let me make a cake, and I basted it with Ray and nephew last night, so it's delicious. But I haven't had any rum. To be honest with you, at the beginning of this period, I was drinking far too much, and so now I'm reining it in because, like you, I'm a social drinker. I'm not the kind of person that will sit at home, like, you know, drinking alcohol unless I've got friends out there or I'm out. So I'm
but I know what you mean. Actually, I think it was the second week. I think it's the second week in lockdown. I actually got drunk for the first time at home on Zoom.
Did you?
I think there was like about 40 of us from all over the world drinking on a Friday night. It started at about 10 o'clock at night here in the UK. They were in different time zones. I think I finished at about 3 in the morning and just staggered.
But you know what?
All over the place.
Yeah, I did the same thing. It was a friend's birthday. And I thought, actually, the upside is I'm drunk, but I can just like stagger over here and I'm home. Yeah. You know? I didn't even make it to my bed. I just fell asleep on the couch. So. Yeah. But it's so bizarre though, because obviously this isn't the life we're used to in terms of socializing on the internet, drinking. Just how we've adjusted. How we've adjusted. Anyway, I've got a quick fire round question for you. I'm going to give you two options, and you just fire away with the one that's closest to your heart or your preferred answer. Okay. And then we'll open up to questions, of which we've got a few in the box. So the first, I know what the answer is, but Jamaica or Barbados?
Well, rum or Jamaica? I know there's some Barbadians online.
I saw the flag.
Yeah, Jamaica.
White rum or dark rum?
The one in my glass.
Okay, I like that. Mixer or neat?
Ooh, depends on who I'm mixing with. Depends on location. These are all diplomatic answers, aren't they?
They are. All very safe.
Yeah.
But seriously, so you're drinking your rum neat. Do you?
I'm drinking this one neat at the moment because the mix is too far to go and too far over there. Okay. And I've got no ice inside this room. I left the ice inside the house.
Okay, that's why. Spicy or sweet?
Spicy.
Scrambled or fried?
Scrambled.
Goat or beef?
Goat.
Of course.
Lena. Goat. There's a
um,
Benny on there saying St. Kitts. No, Benny, not St. Kitts.
um, we've done spirits. Comedy or action?
Oh, comedy.
Romance or horror?
Horror. Romance is horror, isn't it?
Romance is horror.
I'm joking. Don't kill me.
Um,
Look at that look. Oh,
I'm sorry. And I can see myself as well, so I understand what you mean. Marathon or sprint?
Sprint.
And last but not least.
Oh, well, that's, we're talking about life. It's a marathon. Talking about getting there quickly as possible. It's a sprint.
Okay, cool. And last but not least, lion or tiger?
Has to be 100% lion. Leo. Lion.
Cool. Are you a Leo?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. When's your birthday? Then it's coming up, right?
4th. Yeah, 4th of August.
Cool. So
yeah, same as Obama.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Obama, and me and Megan. Me, Obama, and Megan. We always call each other on August. Well, I always call them, but they never answer.
I'm sure. Actually, speaking of which, saw your picture with Idris last weekend.
Oh, Idris. Yeah. We haven't seen each other for such a long time, so it's good to actually catch up.
How was Spoonie's? Was it his birthday party?
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was the 50th. It was 50 years of Black excellence and his 50th birthday party.
Nice.
So
he's 50.
Yeah, so he was DJing. Yeah, he was DJing and took over at the Samsung Center in King's Cross, so everyone was enough space. The actual place holds like I think about 1,000 people. Yeah. There's like 28 of us there at any one time.
Oh,
so it was definitely social distancing.
Oh, nice.
Definitely social distancing, but it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Really?
So, yeah, Tony was there. Ian Wright.
I saw.
Robbie G.
I saw all the Who's Who were there with Ian, and I was sat at home looking on my laptop like.
It was brilliant. Yeah,
was
Kano, Carla, schoolmates.
Yeah.
Well, not schoolmates. He was younger than me, but.
Oh, nice. Anyway, let's move on. You're making me envious. So, first question, Ian. What's your favourite rum?
The one in my glass.
I knew
the next one, or a free one.
Okay.
Someone's put what's called Foursquare Sagacity. That's their favourite. That's rum the show. That's good. I was drinking that last weekend as well. Foursquare Sagacity. Good rum.
Cool.
So it says Equiano is dope. Thank you.
Oh, cool. So I can't see all of this question. So it's I really love listening to you talk. What message would you send to the younger BAME generation coming through hospitality as a whole? It's quite a big question.
Oh, yes. Great question. What I'd say to the younger ones is, first of all, imagine where you want to be and work to that. Don't just be content and say, I just want to be a bartender or a waitress or a chef in this place. I actually want to run the business, or I want to be the best I can be. I want to be the best bartender. I want to be the best waitress. I actually want to be the manager of this place. I want to own this place. Have aspirations and also learn as well. I was I was lucky because I had some good people around me when I was younger in the industry that wanted to teach me to be the best bartender I could be. Even though my grandmother and my mum were like, you should get a proper job.
I can imagine.
I was like, this is a proper job. Yeah. So I wanted to learn as much as I can. And that's before we had the internet and social media. And there are lots of tools out there. If you want to be a bartender, lots of tools out there for cocktails, lots of videos on YouTube. If you want to run a floor, you want to run a bar or run a restaurant, there's lots of teachings from owners that will teach you and show you what to do, what not to do, and learn from their mistakes. Yeah. So just be the best you can be if you are going to be in this industry. Unfortunately, there aren't as many mentors of color in this industry, but that's something I'm looking to change coming October. Something I'm looking to change and improve upon, because I think we have a lot to offer in this industry at a higher level as such. So yeah, so just be confident and don't let anyone tell you that you can't be the best at what you want to be.
Cool. Next question from Sinead is, what has been your favorite distillery to visit and why?
Oh, favorite distillery. I would say, personally, it would be the DDL distillery in Guyana. And the reason why I'd say that, because when you go there, it is like you're going back in time. They have the equipment they use to make rums, what we call the stills. Yeah. They have like 3 wooden stills. Now, there aren't many places in the world that still have wooden stills just on display, let alone functioning. So what they do in Guyana, they make an array of different styles of rum. There's only one distillery there. And this particular distillery, what it did was take the best stills from all these different estates and plantations and distilleries that closed down, unfortunately, because of the lack of fair trade, I like to say, lack of fair trade for countries in the developing world.
Yeah.
So all the distilleries are closed down. They're now being consolidated to one place. So when you go there, you get a cross section of different types of stills that make different styles of rums. But as a rum geek, it is so romantic when you see a double wooden pot still. Where all other stills are normally made from copper. So these were made, or you see a wooden, what we call coffee still, which is coffee still. If you imagine a filing cabinet, just a normal filing cabinet made of wood. This is what this equipment looks like.
Okay.
But it's about 20 feet high. This product, this contraption was actually created, or the basis of that was created in 1824.
Wow.
1824. This is when the whole, what we call column still, coffee still came about. So it is like going back in time when you go there. So so that's one of my favorite distilleries, the DDL distillery in Guyana.
Nice. Another question. Oh, we've got two more, have we? Yeah. I had another question for myself.
Hey, Chef before Hassan, explain hi to Hassan.
Oh, cool. What is the best mix with your rum? What would you recommend it's mixed with? So I mix
Friends.
Pardon?
Friends.
I
Jules, when you're listening, Jules, friends. But if you do want to mix it with things, and it goes in it, whatever your favorite mixer. Ginger beer, ginger ale, are really nice. Some people say, oh, you should never mix rum with Coke. Rum and Coke is a refreshing drink. If you've got the right rum, it's a nice tall glass of ice, squeeze of lime, hot day. It's a refreshing drink. So even a rum and Coke, depending on which country you're in, because there are different types of Cokes. But yeah, rum and your favorite mixer. One of the other things that people find surprising is a really nice light rum tonic. Yeah, it's a light rum tonic, and then you add twists of your favorite citrus, twist of lime, twist of grapefruit, twist of orange peel. You add, it's a really nice, refreshing drink, rum and tonic. It's not just about gin. Have a really nice, refreshing rum and tonic.
Really, I'm definitely a go-to for ginger beer with rum.
Yeah, ginger beer goes very well.
Yeah. Actually, I think, have I asked this question already? What is your best mix with your rum? I have.
All right, yeah, you did. I'm going to say it again. Yeah. Friends.
Hold on.
Friends.
How do I close it? Okay.
Ting. Someone's put it's me is like ting. Ting is another good thing. Rum and ting.
I can't drink ting. I find it too sweet.
Drink ting.
I can feel the
sugar. With Uncle Ray.
Really? I feel the sugar seeping into my teeth.
Well, you know what to do. You know what you do. Get some grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
Mix that with the rum and just add some soda water to it. So you make your own ting. So grapefruit juice, soda water, and your rum. Then you won't have the sweetness. Because you're right. Ting is sweet. In fact, the new formula is not as sweet. But grapefruit juice, rum, and soda water.
Cool. Super duper, Ian. Well, I think we've come to the end. Unless anyone else is
brandy. Ray of Shea, as I said.
Ting and
Ray
brandy.
Of Shea.
Yes.
Ray of Shea. We should call you Ray of Shame. Come on a rum talk and talk about brandy. Come on,
Ray. What type of brandy she's talking about? But yeah, actually, we're talking about rum here, Sinead.
Maybe she's talking about sugarcane brandy. Mount Gay used to have a brand called sugarcane brandy in Barbados. Again, because as Caribbeans, we used to drink brandy and used to show off and say, yeah, we're drinking brandy instead of our drinking our quality rums. So they stuck sugarcane brandy on there to make people believe that they're drinking a sugarcane brandy to elevate it. But,
now we've got Mount Gay brandy. Anyway,
they had a sugarcane brandy. Anyway. But it was rum really. They just put brandy on the label. Yeah. They wanted to upsell.
Okay, cool. So I've got another question before we because I know the time's kind of ticking. So are there any Caribbean islands that you've not been to?
There are a couple. I've tried to go to all the Caribbean islands that actually have working distilleries there, so I could learn. But yeah, there's a couple of Caribbean islands I haven't been to. Haven't been to Dominica yet, so I'm hoping to go there very soon. Montserrat. Haven't been to Montserrat. So yeah, that's two. Let's see. I haven't been to Barbuda, but I've been to Antigua.
Oh yeah.
And I'm due to St. Kitts, and I'm due to go to St. Kitts. In fact, we've got a couple of St. Kittians online. So I'm due to go to St. Kitts because I'm doing a lot of work with the St. Kitts government at the moment and the tourist board for their rums and their cocktails.
Nice.
And trying to promote tourism back, especially after lockdown. So, but yeah, there's the great thing about it is I haven't been to every single island in the Caribbean, so it means I've still got more to go to, more to learn. I do love going back to islands I do enjoy going to.
Yeah.
But not only in the Caribbean, all over the world, wherever there's rum.
What a job, Ian.
I know. Chef Advocates just said ABC Islands, yeah, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Haven't been there yet. Hopefully, we'll be soon.
Yeah.
On the way to Suriname to try some of the Surinese rum.
Oh, their food. I've had their food. I've not been there, but I had their food in Amsterdam.
Yes, in Amsterdam. Yeah, some great Suriname food.
Amazing. Yeah, really, really good.
Really.
But
Benny's saying I should swim there. I should swim from Montserrat, from St. Kitts to Montserrat. Benny, I'm a Jamaican. We don't swim. We bobsleigh.
Did we? Right, yeah, we've got 55 seconds remaining, so I'm going to
kick us off.
I'm going to thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You know, definitely let's stay in touch.
Cool.
And we'll definitely catch up very soon.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
We'll definitely will.
Have a good week.
And we'll be in touch about October.
Yeah, definitely do. Take care, guys. Speak to you soon.